Hey folks, Jonathan here. Okay, ice cream maker. I had absolutely no plans to do any video at all on this, but I mentioned something about it in the last video, and I had quite a few people that said that they couldn't wait to see it, or couldn't wait to see the videos on it. Well, I hadn't planned to do videos, but I figured I'd go ahead and start now, even though it's late. So, started out with this big pulley. Bigger than what most people use. That's okay. I liked it. I had smaller ones, don't get me wrong. But I picked this one up for near nothing, and I just liked it, so I wanted to use it. So that's okay. So it'll slow down pretty slow, but my plans is to use this on a steam engine. But I didn't want to use it on just one steam engine, so that's why I didn't make the engine mount on a cart with the ice cream maker like a lot of them, the hit and miss engine stuff do. I wanted this to be able to be used on different engines. So, okay, took an 1.5-inch shaft, because that was an 1.5-inch hole in here. Now there is there a keyway? Yeah, there's a keyway on it. So I'll have to cut a keyway in this shaft, and I'll drill it and tap it for a lock bolt. Browning wide bearing again. These bearings are 2 inches wide or more. They're made for side load, so there's no reason to need another bearing out here or another bearing in here. This is fine. They're not a self-centering bearing, so they're not going to move like a regular pillar block bearing. Okay, Lovejoy couplers. So this shaft was 1.5 inches here. I turned it to 1 inch to go through here. I turned it to 3/4 to go through our Lovejoy. I still have to cut the keyway in that shaft on both sides, for the Lovejoy and for the pulley. This side, I took a Lovejoy with a 3/4 hole also, and I turned the bushing to put in it and pressed it in, and then I put a pin. I drilled all the way through it and put a pin through it. Now this is just temporary, that's not what I'm going to use, but I went ahead and done that. Okay, so it's got to turn this way. You got to remember that it's got to turn the right way, because if not, then you'll be turning your paddles backwards in your ice cream maker. So this ice cream maker is just a cheap one. It's a $60 one, 6-quart, which is 1.5 gallons. I don't know how well the gears are going to hold up. If they give trouble, I'll probably do some changing or make something different or something, but I just wanted to try this. But you know, your main thing that you got to remember is you got to be able to take this loose. So if I unclip this on this side, this comes up and comes out. And you can see what I've done. I actually took that shaft, and when I put the Lovejoy on it, I bored a hole in the center of the shaft for the handle to fit into. So it's fairly easy to get in there, and then just put the clip back on. Now it's going to be a little harder when you have the ice cream bucket in it, but it's still manageable. I mean, it'll go in. So anyway, that's all we need, something to drive it. And I may put a copper bolt through there. I got some copper bolts, just try it, and that'll work as a shear also, just in case anything was to happen. But anyway, all right, down to the jack shaft. So on all the hit and miss engines, I wouldn't really need to do this if it was just going to be steam, but you know, you never know. I do have a good hit and miss. I may hook it too. So the difference is, a steam engine you can run at a lot lower RPM. Hit and miss is going to want to run it to rated RPM, which is, you know, 350, 400, 450, 500, something like that. Steam engine you can run really slow, so you wouldn't even need this jack shaft. But like I said, I wanted to make it an option to where we can use anything. So here's what we got. This stuff came out of the woods at Doozer Dan's place down in Charlotte, or near Charlotte, and he gave it to me. My plans was to use a couple more big Browning bearings on it, but when I realized how hard it's going to be to get these pulleys off, and I didn't want to break them, I decided that I'd just leave them on there and use the Babbitt bearings that are there, clean them up, and we'll just put oil in them. I mean, they're not spinning at high speed, so it really don't matter. So we're going to be belting to this one, and then running through the jack shaft to a small shaft, and then from it to our big one. And I decided to leave these on. I thought maybe if nothing else, we could run something else off that if we wanted to, as a wider belt off of maybe a little squirrel cage fan, or even use that to run it. Speed it up a little bit if we needed to speed it up for the for a hit and miss engine. So, which I doubt that's going to be the case, but anyway, so I'm playing with that. I bought this pulley. This was 1 1/8". I needed 1 1/4", so I bored it out to 1 1/4", and then I broached the key in it, and re-broached the key deeper. So now I've just got to cut the key in the shaft, but I'm going to make the mounts for it first, and we'll go from there. All right. Okay, folks, here's where we're at. I made 2 plates for these bearings, and as you can see, I slotted them. And hopefully you can see I slotted both brackets so we can move the belt, tighten the belt up and down. So everything's lined up. I got it tacked on. It's good and straight. The pulley's working fine. Everything's working good up top. So now I've got everything welded where I want, or tacked in where I want. I think I'm going to finish weld everything, and then we're going to take it back apart, and I'm going to put a locking collar here so the shaft don't walk over that way, and then this will lock the outside. But I've got to cut a keyway for that pulley, and I've got to cut 2 keyways in the shaft there. And then cutting the keyways is easy. Finding the keys around here might be the tough part, but I need to stock up on a bunch of different sizes of that stuff. But alright folks, all the welding's done. Everything on it is finished. Now I think we're going to take it apart and clean everything up and go ahead and cut our keyways for the final, and then put it together, and we'll probably put some paint on it. It's going to make it look a little bit better anyway. So I just got to mark where I need to do the keyway, and we're going to put a locking collar, like I said, on the inside so it don't move over, and everything seems to be good. Clean these babbits up. The bearings seem to be good in them, no problem. We just need to get them cleaned up well and put some oil in them. And so this is the way that it turns. Anyway, I think it's going to work out really well. I don't think we're going to have any issues. It's kind of hard to work with getting something square when you're working with a cart that wedges in. So, you know, it's kind of a optical illusion sometimes as to whether, you know, this shaft is straight, because it's not straight because that is going in, but you know how it is. But anyway, so we've got it, and hopefully I'll get these machining done and start getting it back together. All right. Okay, folks, here's what we got. We are hooked up and running, and have not made any ice cream yet, but have tested. So let me see where I left off. Cut keyway in the shaft. It was a 3/8. I cut one in this shaft, which was a 3/16. Still have not done anything with this. I just left the cotter pin through it. I think it'll be okay for now. And let me see, I cut a 1/4 inch keyway right here in this shaft. Put a locking collar on. I couldn't get the you can see it's cracked in there, the set screw, so I couldn't get it loose. I had heated that and got it off without breaking it, and so what I'd done was just drilled another hole and added another, tapped it and put another set screw in, because a lot of them had 2 anyway, and that way I could use the original collar without having to go and get a different one. We've oiled the bearings, the babbits, they're doing really good. Have that and this, and that keeps the shaft from moving side to side. Belt's a little too thick and big, but I mean, it's fine. It stays in the groove and it don't come off. That's the important part. So everything worked out well. We've still got a lot of adjustment. We can lower that down to tighten the belt up. Just got an old flat belt on it. It's a little short, but that's okay. It rolled right back to it. Now, when you're using one of these, what you would want to do was probably stake this down to the ground, and I'll add a couple plates or a couple of holes or something to be able to drive a couple round rods down in the ground. And then your handle lays down. If you notice, they're bent in a fashion that allows them to lay down pretty much flat. Then you would have two U-shaped hold downs, stakes that you could stake in, and that would keep this thing from letting the engine roll anywhere. It's a good way of doing it, and I think we're good to go. I've got a little bit of water in it. I didn't fill it completely up, but I'm not ready to make ice cream yet. I think I'll do that tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and fire it up. It's really slow. Now I can change this from here to there and speed it up, but I don't mind it being as slow as it is. You know, we're not in any hurry, and I'm sure if I was cranking it by hand, it'd be going slow anyway. So let me start it up and we'll see what it looks like. Alright folks, there you have it. Pretty much used everything junk. I had to buy a belt, and I did buy that pulley. I probably could have come up with one, but I bought that pulley, so wasn't too bad. And everything else I had here, so there you go. Time to eat some ice cream. Okay folks, here's what I was talking about, was staking it down. I just took some 3/8 solid rod and maybe a couple loops. Staked it down. The ice cream maker don't seem to be moving at all. I have not staked it, but it's pretty smooth. We're turning pretty slow. It might be a little too slow, but we'll see how it does. My ice cream maker inside, only the tub turns. On this one, the tub turns, but the blade inside turns opposite. The way that one works is the blade just stays stationary. So this one, even though it's turning slow, it's probably doing twice as much work. So I guess as long as it's mixing while it's cooling, that's the important part. So seems to be doing pretty good. This is making it 6 quarts, which is 1.5 gallons. We usually make a gallon, which is 4 quarts. It takes about 40 minutes, something like that. So we'll see how long this one takes. At least you can see in it, it'll rise and come up toward the top, you know, when it gets about to be done anyway. So, all right, we're gonna see what happens here. Well, I'm not sure if you can see it or not. I don't know why we've got a lot of squeaking, but the ice cream's coming up good. It's hardening up. Probably not too long for it to be done, but don't know why they're squeaking like that. We'll check into that. Maybe some vegetable oil or margarine or something might help it out. I don't like it. Don't like it at all, but this is a cheap unit. I don't think, the 6 quart, I don't think it was about $60, $70 or something like that. So it's not like it's a high-end unit. Hopefully it'll last. We'll see. But I mean, we're running it slow, but you know, we probably got more torque here than it would ever need. But, all right. I'll show you here in a few minutes when we open her up. Okay, folks, still got a squeak there. Can't figure out. I did take it off. I took this belt off, took that off, and I put some vegetable oil up in where all the plastic touches, and it didn't help. So I don't know why it's squeaking, but you can see the ice cream is right at the top. Getting really close. Right through there. So we're almost done. Our ice is just about melted. Not quite, but almost. I haven't kept track of the time, so I don't know how long it's been. But we got to do something about the squeaking, though. We'll figure that out as we go. I don't like that at all. Okay, folks, here's our canister. It's a tall one. There's our ice cream. Right up almost to the top. So that's what we wanted. So we're going to go eat it. So it worked good. I don't think it's turning too slow. I really don't. And you can see how much ice melted. But I think it's going to be fine like it is. Like I said, we can speed it up with the steam engines, but I think it'll do just fine. And I'm going to go eat some ice cream. Appreciate everybody watching. Till next time. Bye.